Hey you guys, so today I want to talk to you about being a traveler and not just a tourist. First off, being a tourist is great and it's still an easy and very enjoyable way to gain new experiences and see parts of the world that you haven't had the chance to yet. So don't get me wrong, sometimes being a tourist is maybe all that you need right then, or all that you're able to do at that time. However, there is something intrinsically different about allowing yourself to be a traveler. So what is the difference? So a traveler allows a certain degree of spontaneity to kind of guide their time and their experience in a new setting and a new place. Say you have on your itinerary that you want to see this one specific landmark. You probably do want to see that. Definitely go and see that. However, just driving straight there without, looking around you as you are going to your destination is being a tourist. Whereas having that spontaneity while you're traveling, if you are driving, if there's something down another street that you may want to take a closer look at, do that. That's probably where some of the best experiences and best memories of your trip will come from. Even if you are not driving and you're just riding the metro or the subway or you're flying somewhere, take in every minute of all of that to interact with the people around you. What I'm getting at is just don't hesitate to stop and explore. If you have some inkling to go and check out something off to the side of the road, please go do that. That is going to make your experience in a place much more unique and memorable for you. I've found that some of my favorite locations were ones that weren't necessarily planned for. For example, there's this one jetty near this lighthouse in Oregon, and I was on a road trip. My parents were taking my siblings and I on a road trip, and we were hitting all the lighthouses along the way. But if there was some outlook off to the side of the road, we always stopped. If there was something more to see around one of the lighthouses that were on our map, then we would. And I think it was in Coquille, I think that's how you say it, in Oregon. And it's just this quaint little lighthouse. But my favorite part was this stone jetty that I think part of the reason I loved it so much is because it was a little bit dangerous to be out there. The waves were huge and crashing over it, and it was just beautiful. And possibly one of the prettiest places I've ever experienced, I'd say. Like I was saying earlier though, a traveler converses with the people around them, whether that's fellow travelers or locals in the area. Just a huge part of traveling for me is not just seeing a new place, but experiencing the culture and making connections with the people who live there. Don't be so, I think the word's ethnocentric, that you can't appreciate and gain something from the world perspective of the place that you're visiting. I think it's especially important to not be so entitled or arrogant, and not that you mean to be that way. I've even had times where I need to kind of look at my thoughts and think, goodness, don't be so judgmental of what you're seeing or the people you're talking to. Don't think that just because someone or some place that you're at you think has a lower living standard than you do, that their lives are any less enjoyable. Some of the, I'd say, most blissful faces I've ever seen were walking out of tiny one-room shelters towards their little pasture of sheep and goats in the hills of Romania. And driving past them, it would be hard for me to wrap my head around growing up there and living there my entire life, but that's where they lived, and they looked so happy, and they were just content with what they had. And then on the flip side, in some of the more well-to-do cities I've been to, that's where I've seen some of the most downtrodden and depressing faces, in the glittering, happening streets of Times Square, or, on the subway in Paris. So traveling is about making connections with humanity and appreciating and enjoying this beautiful earth that God has put us on. So savor the time you have here. Get out and travel, experience it. Experience it for yourself, not just based on what some, Pinterest article or blog post or guidebook tells you to go see in a place. Probably do want to go see a few of those places, but also just be there as yourself. You're there to experience it for you and make your own memories, not to just check a bunch of things off of a checklist. So one of my favorite ways to savor my time here on Earth is to travel. I find that one of the most rewarding and enhancing experiences that one can have, or that at least I've had. So for me, seeing new places isn't just about getting the perfect, Instagrammable shot, but being a part of a more global community. Don't go somewhere and just snap a shot so you can get a bunch of likes. Really take it in. And I feel like I keep on saying the word experience it for yourself, but I think I really just want to get that point across. You shouldn't be traveling for anyone else but yourself. And now that sounds a little selfish, but it's an incredible way to learn and an incredible way to gain more empathy for those around you. When you're traveling, there can be a lot of barriers, whether it's language or just the culture being completely different from anything you're familiar with. But you want to do your best to break down those walls and those setbacks so that you can learn all that you can about the world. One of my favorite quotes is, I think it's from Gandhi, but he said, "Live as if you will die tomorrow, but learn as if you will live forever." And I think that can apply perfectly to traveling. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to do always, but I think it's one of the most rewarding, and you will learn a lot from it. Knowing the history of a place that I'm either going to or have been to adds a lot to my appreciation for the place and how well it sticks out in my memory. There are a number of times that I've learned some new fact about some place that I went to when I was, a teenager, even 9 or 10, and I wish I could go back because, being in that place with that knowledge would have just added so much more to that moment. You want to learn about the history and respect the people that you meet as actual people and not just spectacles and a part of the landscape. They have their own incredible, thriving lives. One of my favorite things that I've learned to do through traveling is to become a people watcher. I'd say my mom especially taught me this when we would be sitting in airports and watching people walk off of the plane and, come through the door. She'd say, okay, the next person is going to be a dentist or a ballerina. And then we'd wait with anticipation to see what person walked off. And sometimes they would walk out and we'd be like, oh, I could totally see them as a ballerina. And then sometimes, you'd guess that they're a motorcyclist, and a mom would walk through with her 3 kids. Which doesn't mean she's not a motorcyclist. which is exactly why I love the game, because it makes you start to think about the bigger picture of people's lives instead of just that one time that you're ever going to see them in your entire life, for all you know. Definitely become a people watcher. Put down your phone, and sometimes I want to say even just put down your book if that's what you're sitting with your nose in an airport, and look around you. You might be surprised by what you see and what you learn. I've seen the quote, and I'm sure you've seen the quote as well, that says to be happy, don't compare yourself to others. And I get the message of what that phrase, what that saying is trying to get across, but I also think it's a little off. I think it sometimes allows people a little bit of a cop-out for not trying to push themselves to try and improve on who or what they are at this moment. I think observing people and sometimes a little healthy comparison can actually prove to be very inspirational. It's good to be inspired by what other people are doing, and maybe you're not doing that right now, but that comparison can maybe give you the motivation to work towards. It gives you something to work towards. Seeing someone whose success and just effulgent joy with what they're doing in their life can motivate me to achieve the same for myself. So I agree that you should never try and be a carbon copy of someone else, but it is okay, and I'll argue even good, to discover that someone somewhere is doing something maybe more efficiently or better quality than you may be doing at this time, and it'll show you that there's room for improvement, and that's okay. It's okay to want to then emulate and reflect that same positive attitude that that other person is putting off. The key is to not become consumed and obsessed with that one thing. Have your own dreams and have your own goals be very clear for yourself. No one is perfect, but they are perfectly consistent in practicing little habits that they've learned from someone else that will drastically improve and change your life over time. So all of that was just to say, don't be too big for your britches, basically, that you are closed off to gaining some light from someone else across the world. Even if you think you have everything perfectly down in your life right now, I guarantee you that some kid in some foreign country is going to have this contagious smile, or some elderly person is going to say something with just such profound wisdom that you've never thought about, and it's going to have a profound impact on your life. And it's going to have a profound impact on how you understand yourself, the world, and everyone in it. And then all of this is especially true if you don't think you've got it all down and you need something to open your eyes. The world absolutely needs your light just as much as you need its light. So go and discover those unexpected places. Don't go to England and only stay in London. There's so much to see outside of the city. I guess on that same vein, if you do go to London, don't just see all the major touristy sites. Get out of the taxi, get off of the bus, and walk around for a day and see what you find. I'm confident that you will find some little treasure that not many other people know about. With all of this, I feel like I should add, if you are a woman traveling solo, and even a man, honestly, just make sure that you are traveling wisely and safely above anything else. Basically, don't be an idiot. But back to London, walk around, try a corner bakery that catches your eye, and I guarantee you'll be surprised what the universe brings your way. Another tip for being an excellent traveler is don't always have your phone out. Put your phone away. I have a few friends that they went to Europe, and I could tell you exactly what they did their entire trip because so much on their Instagram stories and their Snapchat stories, and it was to the point where I almost wondered how much of the country they actually saw with their own eyes rather than just through the lens and screen of their little iPhone. So put your phone away. I do like having a quality camera with me so that I can snap pictures when I feel inclined to. But I just want to encourage the rest of you, as well as continue myself, to, maybe take a quick picture on your phone if you really must, if you really need to. But put your phone away while you're traveling. Be there with the people that you went with. Be there with the people that you don't know that are surrounding you. Just be present and be there. And of course, this isn't to say I'm perfect at that by any means, but it's a big goal of mine. With solo trips, for the most part, I want my close friends and family with me, just because I know that there's going to be a moment that I'll wish I could share it with someone else. And there are a lot of moments like that that should be shared with someone else, be that your whole family, be that one person, or, a couple of friends. I love having shared experiences with those that I love and that are closest to me. However, of course, I am at the point where I feel like I need, or at least I want to gain some experiences independently and be somewhere mostly on my own as a way to kind of figure out who I am in that space. And once you figure out who you are in unfamiliar place, I think it can impact who you are from the day to day. Anyway, I hope to be able to solo travel sometime in the next couple of years. If any of you have some tips and just that advice on places that are safe to do that, or what you found was a good resource as far as sites to book hotels through, or bed and breakfasts, any of that kind of stuff, please let me know in the comments below. As a funny note, when I told my mom that I wanted to solo travel, she told me that I had to either bring along my dad or Liam Neeson. And so I just responded that I better figure out how to contact Liam Neeson, because I'm not going with my dad. Anyway, yeah, it's eventually going to happen. And I think that about covers it right now for the things that I found that have helped me to be a more present traveler rather than just a sightseeing tourist. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you for watching and sticking around, and I'll see you later. Bye.